booties for black girl nerds.
Okay, twin and Marsai, I love it.
We
Thank
twin.
you.
Feel me?
I felt your
feel
energy before
me?
you came onto the Zoom,
I
girl.
That's it.
know, here to take care of business. I thank both of you for your time. I really, really enjoyed the movie and your relationship with each other. Marsai, I'll ask you the first question. Callie is part of those special group of people who just know early on their life path. Not everybody can figure that out, but still within that, you have what you want for yourself versus the dreams of your family. So, what do you think is the thing for Callie that makes the spark to realize maybe my dream is a little different from what I initially thought or what my family might have for me?
Ooh, what was her spark? Oh, I guess it was probably when things were going downhill for her. And in a sense, it was going uphill for Bobby. I believe when it was starting to get stressful and she had to not really, well, in a sense, kind of choose between robotics and being there for her dad. I think that's when she had to kind of realize like what was important to her. And she's a kid, like she's a teenager, so she wants to protect. And I think in a sense she, of course, Keisha didn't know, so she had to kind of keep it to herself and kind of be overwhelmed internally. And I think that's when the spark kind of came, when those negative emotions started to happen. I mean, when Bobby started getting an ego boost and she was feeling some type of way and he was making remarks about her pushing buttons and she was like, okay, like I think for most people actually, like when some type of competitive emotion like anger or sadness starts to happen, you have to figure out another lane that will kind of just find your happiness again, for sure, and trying to switch it up, or like just trying to make something happen to where you can feel like yourself again. And I think that's where her spark just started to just kind of fire up in her a little bit.
See, I like that. When, I kind of gauge that with my own child of when the dream is threatened, what will you do to get it back? Over to you, Omari, for you being able to live in the dream. But sometimes when we love someone, their dreams become our dreams, and it's hard to separate the two. So what do you think that Bobby does well? He goes through a lot of growth in the film, but what do you think he has at the core that he does well that keeps his family unit together, even though it's chaotic?
Great question, yeah. Great question. So I could piggyback what Say said, and only because I felt that Marsai's character, which is how she answered it, I felt her character didn't quite. I think Marsai Martin knows her path immediately upon birth, but that's biblical. She just was given that. It's biblical. I don't find she and I that different in that way. I think both of us knew very early. Josh and Carol in real life put her in that boat and said, let's rock, and we'll get in the boat with you. I had to navigate it a bit different growing up here in Decatur, Georgia, where what I ultimately became wasn't a part of this fabric of culture. Hollywood is now a part of the fabric, but not when I was growing up. So as much as Marsai at one point left Dallas to go to Hollywood, and Omari left Atlanta to go to Hollywood, I think both of us converged at different ages at the same place of not necessarily, oh, we here? I think we knew very early. I think I added that to Bobby. So early on, what I knew was I don't really want to make a family if what you're telling me is my call in life, God, will make them have to sacrifice what their dreams are. I really fought that part of what I've become. So it hit me hard when I watched the scene where it's not involving me, but Marsai's Callie is walking next to Elijah's character, Nate, and she says, my life has always sort of revolved around, our lives have revolved around my father. I definitely carry that level of guilt in terms of what Jay in real life and Nova in real life and Brave in real life feel about the life revolving around the Bobby Coleman that Omari Hardwick has also publicly become. So that's hard for me. I can't stand when I feel like my actual family feels that about me, because in reality, they do. So you can sulk about it, or you can put it into a character named Bobby Coleman and go, so what good could you put into this guy? To your great question. The good I could put in is that Omari, in fact, feels away when the whole family's life is revolving around my life. That doesn't feel good to me. Not in the poverty mentality of that which I naturally carry as a Black man, and feeling a level of guilt at being successful. And whether you feel like your family is part of the success or not, they got dreams. I don't want, to raise the kids in LA or Hollywood for a reason. Marsai in Hollywood works because Marsai is Omari in Hollywood. But Nova, I don't want in Hollywood because her father can't walk any 5 feet in Hollywood without being asked for something. So partly inserting that into Bobby Coleman, he has all of a sudden got this blow up. Marsai is aided in his blow up and Callie being able to play him. He's leveled up and now his ego is leveled up. But his ego is at a place where if you insert an actor who feels a way about that, I feel a way about his ego blowing up, then I think the good that I could put in this guy is that at the beginning of the movie, his objective is for the family to be one. For Marsai's Callie to be always safe up under Pop's wing on the left and Pop's wing on the right, Keisha, played by Rowland so well, is able to equally feel protected. Well, in reality, he loses that perspective and all of a sudden he's not protecting either one of them. So I think what's good about him is that objectively, we find him at the conclusion of the film back at where he started, which was, Pops, you always had it. You were enough on the football field. But equally, Bobby learns that I was also enough just being home and being present. And he says it. He says, I know that y'all have always wanted me here and present. And so here I am, present. He needed to feel the ego boost. He didn't have it in his career. But what's good about him is that at the end of the day, you can root for the fact that he's just a guy that wants to be a husband. He's just a guy that wants to be a father. He wants Christmas to go this way. He can't wait for Thanksgiving. He wants the dog and the three of them to walk down the street and be able to be normal. It doesn't smell like that throughout the process of him blowing up. But at the beginning of the process, he just wants to be that guy.
I love that. Your presence is a present indeed. Thank you guys for your time. I really enjoyed the film. It's really, really good. And I enjoyed you both in it. Take care.
Thank you. Good to see your face, always. Peace.
Thank you. Can you give me your name one more time?
Giandra.
Giandra.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Just
You're
as
welcome.
you are, as both of you are. This film was so fun to me because it gave me, some hardiness and life lessons, but a little more the parent and the adult point of view of when your dreams and the dreams of your loved ones kind of collide. Kelly, when beginning with you, Keisha is a very loving mother, supportive wife. What do you think that she does right in supporting the dreams of her family, but still having a certain amount of self-preservation?
I think that she's a realist. I think that that's where one of her strengths lies for sure, is that she's a realist. I think she loves to communicate with her family. Somebody asked me on the carpet, describe Keisha in one word. I said heart. The heart keeps the rhythm and flow of the body. And I think that that is her superpower in the Coleman family.
Mm-hmm. Over to you, Rome. What I liked about Anderson, I thought about, everyone says be humble, stay humble, and humility is a great quality, but it's a lot of hard work that goes into achieving a goal. So where do you think is the fine line between having that humble heart and that gratitude, but still like, I didn't just land here. I worked very hard to get to where I need to be.
Well, first I want to say that was a very amazing perspective for you to catch, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to see that. My thing is, as an athlete, it's not ever been about humbleness. It's about winning. And for Anderson, that's what his life has been about: winning, conquering the next thing, rushing records, this whole thing. And so when Bobby Coleman steps in and kind of interrupts the flow of his life, then you see how the negative aspects of that happening change how he starts to act, because I don't think that he's necessarily, I mean, I think he's rambunctious and he's cocky in a way, but I think he's kind of felt like he's earned that, because of where he is. He put the work in to be in the position that he's in, and all of a sudden he kind of loses it. And now it's just like a journey of trying to figure out how this is possible. So yeah, I think there is a fine line that you need to have humility and be humble with the people around you, the people that you care about. But when it comes to the person across from me that's trying to take food off my plate, I don't know if I'm gonna be that humble. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm gonna be so receptive to what maybe he needs and when he's trying to take food off my plate, you know? So that's how I'm thinking as an athlete. This is how these guys think when they line up across the guy in front of them or when they plan. You know, it's like life or death out there for these guys. So that's kind of the component I wanted to bring to Anderson.
I like that because it was competitive, but it was an animus. And I think society, we could learn that you can be competitive and be proud without doesn't mean I'm slighting you. I'm just appreciating myself. Kelly,
Yeah, sure.
last over to you. I love seeing you act, and I love seeing this new chapter of a very wonderful career. What does acting do for you in a way that singing doesn't?
I think for me, it's a challenge. And singing, of course, still is a challenge. You got different notes and songs that still challenge me. But I've always been so intrigued. And I've always wanted to do it. And it's exciting, you know, all over again. It's anew. And I love the idea of being able to tell stories, you know, to tell this story with Keisha Coleman, and just the dynamics of her life was really exciting and fun for me. And I like telling stories in this way. It's really, really fun and very creative, another way to exercise another creative space. And like I said, I've been looking at movies since I was a kid and reciting them. And I'm always like, well, where is that going to pay off? You know what I mean? And to be able to do it in front of the screen is very, very cool.
She's really good at it though.
Oh, thank you.
I know everybody can
So
carry
is
that.
he. So
I mean,
is he.
It's different, but like when she's introduced to the world away and now reinventing and reimagining that is a really hard thing to do. But then also to do it among people like me, amongst Omari and Marsai, people who dedicate their lives to the kind of craft, it's very seamless, you know, and so you just have that about you that you can go in any out of situations. And it's probably just life experience that afforded you to be able to do that.
Thanks,
you just
Ron.
tapping into that. So
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, people gonna watch this and be forgetting that's Kelly Rowland, you know, and that's what we want people to
That's
see.
what I want. That's what I want.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed both of you. This is such a cute film. And thank you again.
Thank you. Wait, can I just say thank you for the attention to detail that you placed on the questions and for great journalism. It is very much so a lost art. And the fact that you went into such detail, we are very grateful. Thank you for paying so much attention. And we hope you have a beautiful Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time this Saturday. I really love the film. It was so sweet, but it still had enough edge to get a parental point of view of when your dreams and the dreams of others can sort of consume you. When you were asked to participate in this project, what were dreams that maybe you had in common, or dreams you had that you put aside to take on this new dream? And was it a good thing for you?
It was a great thing for me coming on board this project. I have a long-standing relationship with Marsai Martin and the Old Genius family, Joshua and Carol Martin, and I was doing the series finale of Blackish, and they asked me to come on board, you know, and to take a read, and obviously Paramount Plus and Spring Hill and the Nickelodeon and other partners involved. And once I read the outline, and once I knew Marsai and Omari Hardwick were a part of it, it was a no-brainer for me. And I think I had a couple other projects. I was doing a pilot when this was happening, and we actually had to really kind of adjust the film schedule just a little bit by a week, I think, for me to start, because I was just finishing the pilot and rolled right into this. So fortunately, I did have a couple things lined up that I did have to put aside, but this was the bigger dream. So this, in a lot of ways, for me, you know, it's a dream cast, dream story. So a dream come true.
Mm-hmm. I love the chemistry between Omari and Marsai, like just a genuine, warm, caring father-daughter relationship that was particularly beautiful. What did you see amongst them? You give them a certain amount of direction, obviously, but what did you see within them that warmed you to their pairing and really made you realize they have something special?
You know, Omari is great, and as is Marsai. But Omari dove right in. And I asked him, I said, look, if y'all can, we had a very tight prep schedule. I said, get together, outside of this before we start. And, they hung out a little bit and went to dinner with Marsai and her parents. And, Omari's a dad and he has his kids, and he immediately just jumped right in and just assumed kind of that father role with Marsai immediately, and just sort of made it really comfortable. And I think she too, she embraced Omari and Kelly Rowland, who plays Keisha, the mom. And it was just an instant, and I think I tried to allow them to just be natural with each other and just kind of hang out and let it naturally form. And the chemistry is off the charts.
Well, they did a beautiful job. Thank you for your time. I'm going to cut this part. That boy breaking into song in the bleachers had me rolled up in stitches. That was so funny and so unintentionally funny. Very well done. I really like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.